Okay. And I know at least one of you on in this class have some wrist issues. So for you, maybe you'll do more hip stuff because arm balances require open hips anyway. So we're going to actually start sitting down just for a moment. And I learned the trick to me making class the proper amount of time is to trick myself into thinking it actually has to be shorter. So yesterday I aimed for a 45-minute class and it ended up being exactly an hour. So let's just sit tall, the legs folded however you'd like them to be. And we're going to have our fingertips just off to the side so that we, in a way, we can push down into the floor with our fingers and sit up taller. And on your next inhale, reach your right arm up. And exhale over to the left side, any amount. Inhale through center again. Notice that both sitting bones on the floor. And exhale for that side bend. Keep your right sitting bone on the floor. Inhale through center. Your belly draws back. Exhale for side bend. And just take one more like this. Ideally, you're increasing your range of motion each time, but also finding this core strength to bring you up again with no strain. Let's release that arm down. Change the way you're sitting, just so the other foot is in front or on top, so that we break some of the habitual actions. And we'll just start again sitting tall. So think of that zipping up through your low belly so that you feel somewhat dense there, and then you can expand through the ribs more. And we'll reach the left arm up for an inhale, whatever that is for you. And exhale, side bend. The right hand can just slide out a bit in response. Inhale, rising up as tall as you can, belly in. Exhale, side bend, keep that left hip down. Again, inhale. And that right hand can help you keep the left hip down by pushing into the floor, giving you some grounding. Inhale. And last time, just whatever the range is that's comfortable for you. And rising up. Okay, release that arm down. Let's meet in tabletop. Just very simply, some cat-cows, no big deal. Spread the fingers. Inhale to arch. Draw the sitting bones closer together. Mula Bandha, exhale to round. Inhale, arch. See if you can initiate this rounding from the low belly or from the pelvic floor. Take 3 more. And you're already setting yourself up for arm balance success by practicing keeping the weight through the fingertips, through the inside of the hand. There should be no wrist pain here. If there is, just come to the forearm. And after your next inhale, press the downward dog for your exhale. And just pedal out the feet. Okay, let's come to the knees again. We're just going to face the long edge of the mat. I'm going to face you because that's where the camera is, but it doesn't matter which way you face. Just extend one leg out. And that leg will be straight. The hips will still face front. We'll just reach the arms out. So we're just going to do a side bend with that same drawing in and up. But now you might be a little more inspired to draw in and up because you'll have to work just a little bit harder, but it's still quite easy. So draw in, inhale. And on your exhale, just tilt over and reach out with that bottom hand. Inhale to rise up. So you're using your obliques and your belly to do this. Exhale to tip over. And inhale to rise up. And just go through a few like this. If you don't want to touch the floor all the way, there's no need. Just go in whatever range you can. Because as most things, what goes down must come up again. So you want to be able to control it pain-free. Okay, and let's just change sides. So one knee comes down, the other leg goes out. Find your center first. Drop your tailbone down so you're not sticking your butt out. Lift your armpits up away from your hips so you're nice and tall. And then just go at your pace, whatever that is. But each time we come through center, you might have to reset. Imagine that your crown of head is going up a little bit higher. And this is just to help us practice staying aware of the core even when we're moving. And sometimes we only find it if we're in a stationary place, which is not fully reality. So we'll meet again in a downward dog whenever you're done with that side. You can just bring your knee down and shift to face front again. After your next exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale there at the top, and exhale to fold. We'll rise all the way up. Inhale, and just fold again for your exhale. Halfway up, inhale. Step or jump chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. And let's find our tabletop again. Knees under hips. Notice that you're even, right and left sides. So let's keep that. Draw your belly in a bit so there's neutrality in your back. And just slide your right toes back along the mat, but try to keep your weight in the right hand also. And bring your knee down. Left leg slides back. The weight didn't shift through your hands. And then the knee comes down again from whence it came. One more time, right leg. And bring it in. And one more time, left leg. Don't let your weight shift too much. And bring it in. Okay. Inhale to arch. And exhale, downward dog. Heels up high for an inhale. Bend the knees. Exhale and step or jump forward. Inhale there at the top. And fold, exhale. Koundinyasana. Bend the knees and reach up. Inhale. And let's squat and reach forward for the exhale. Koundinyasana again for the inhale. Palms together if possible. And exhale to squat. The arms are going to counterbalance your butt so that you don't feel like you're going to fall back. 2 more times. Keep pushing your knees together. That's going to help a lot in your revival, in your lifting up. So we'll meet in Utkatasana. The knees are still pressing together. And fold on your exhale to straighten the legs. Inhale halfway. And step or jump chaturanga, exhale. Oh, Carrie, already, the shirt is coming off. Got warm real quick. Okay, and we'll meet in our tabletop again. We're just going to add on to what we already did. So the thing that's tempting is when we start to mess around with one leg, our arms start doing this crazy stuff. So try your best to keep it very even, regardless of your legs. So first, inhale to arch. So that you just find your extremes. Exhale to round. And then melt into your neutral. Draw the belly in so you're defying gravity. Then slide your right leg back. You can lift it off the ground or not, your choice. And bring the knee down again. Then bring your right knee toward your right elbow or shoulder. And place it down again. Then we'll do the left side. Slide the leg back. If you're lifting it up, be extra careful not to arch. Bring the knee down. And touch your knee toward your left elbow or shoulder. And bring it down. Right leg, another time. Extend it back, belly in, and bring it, knee down. And knee to arm. Don't lean to the left, and bring the knee down. And left leg slides back, and knee down. So we're just trying to keep that neutral pelvis. All that's moving is that left leg, knee comes up, and knee down. And inhale to arch. And exhale for downward dog. Okay, heels up, inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale when you get there. And fold, exhale. Utkatasana. Let's bring the hands to prayer, the right ankle to the lower left thigh, so it's flying pigeon. The left leg is bent quite deeply. And let's lift the arms, so it's like a like Koundinyasana, but with that flying pigeon aspect. And then lower the elbows to your forearm or to your shins. And lift the arms again. Maybe even look up. And exhale to bring the forearms down. So that right knee nudges to the floor. 2 more times. So your left thigh is like a shelf. When you were in normal Uttanasana, you had your knees pressing together, so you've lost that element of the balance. Okay, let's come all the way to standing, feet down, arms up, and hands together for the other side. So we're just placing our left ankle on our lower right thigh, and we're leaning forward to stick our butt out like we normally would in flying pigeon. And we reach up, inhale, maybe look up, exhale to bring it in again. The whole time the left foot is flexed. And if you can keep the knee pressing down toward the floor, even when your arms are reaching up, it will be much easier to have that ankle glued to the thigh. We don't want any sliding there. Okay. And somehow, stand up, reach up. And we'll just fold forward, exhale. Halfway up for an inhale. Stepward jump, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. And downward facing, exhale. Right leg to the ceiling, inhale. And bring it to the hands, exhale. We'll come on to fingertips or blocks under your hands if you want. And we'll just straighten the right leg some amount. Inhale. Rebend, exhale. Oh, my dream came true. 2 more times. Blaze sat his butt right in front of the screen. Just what I like. 1 more time. So we're getting the right leg as straight as possible for us at this moment. Okay. Step to downward dog. And we'll just change sides. So from dog, left leg up high. Point the toes, touch the ceiling. And then step forward, so that your toes line up with fingertips. The back heel's pretty high. And inhale, straighten the left leg some amount. Exhale, bend. 2 more times. Okay, and this next time your knee is bent, palms flat, step to plank. Notice how equal you are, right and left hands. Keep that. Just bring your right knee toward your elbow. And extend the leg back again. The hips will keep facing the ground. And bring the left knee toward the left elbow. Nothing moved except the leg. And extend it back. 1 more time, right side. So trying to keep a lot of stillness, which means that the leg that's not moving has to be like a steel beam. And from your plank, either vinyasa or downward dog, I will meet in dog. Based on your camera location, face the long edge of your mat with your feet facing parallel. So it's like a prasarita setup, but we're not actually going to go to prasarita. We're just going to reach the arms out and check that the ankles are roughly under the wrists. And turn the right foot to face the right. And bend your knee, exhale. Straighten your leg, inhale, pivot on the feet. Exhale, bend the left leg. Inhale to straighten the left leg, pivot on the feet. Exhale to bend the right. Inhale to straighten, pivot. Exhale to bend. Keep dropping the tailbone, inhale to pivot, exhale, bend. Just a few more, go at whatever pace suits you. But in Warrior Two, it's one of the easiest poses to get a neutral pelvis. So you can even, if you need to touch your pelvis, make sure your hip bones are still facing the long edge of the mat, no matter what else is happening with the legs. Make sure the pubic bone is drawing up, tailbone angling down. The next time that you're done on the left side, we'll just meet facing the long edge of the mat again. Hands to the hips for an inhale, and fold forward for Prasarita Koundinyasana A. Hands down, lengthen, and exhale to fold a little further. Engage the quads. 2 more breaths. Next inhale will come halfway up. Hands to the hips for an exhale, and then come the rest of the way up. And we'll pivot the right foot to face the short edge of the mat, so we're in Warrior Two. And we'll just stay in Warrior Two with the legs. We're going to move the upper body in a moment. If moving back and forth is something that makes you anxious or you just don't want to do it, once we're in the pose, you just stay there. Okay, Koundinyasana, so you can put your elbow on your thigh or your hand on the floor, and we'll return to Warrior Two. We'll exhale into the pose. We'll inhale to Warrior Two. You're gonna have to dig your right heel into the floor like that. Exhale. Inhale. It's very tempting to straighten the front leg. Try to keep it bent just as you would in Warrior Two. And it's like your thighs are energetically moving toward one another. That's gonna keep you in the game. So let's meet in Warrior Two so that we can just change sides. Pivot, pivot, make sure you have your heel to arch alignment. When you bend your left leg, it's roughly 90 degrees, unless of course your hips are not that open. And then it might look something like this. Your leg not that bent, it's fine. Okay, Koundinyasana on your exhale. Inhale to your Warrior Two. Exhale to come down. Inhale to come up. So notice how much work you have to do to keep your pelvis neutral when you come up. Two more times. We'll meet eventually facing the long edge of the mat again with straight legs. Ooh-wee, I'm sweating buckets. Hands to the hips, inhale. And let's fold forward. We're gonna keep our hands on the hips, but we're gonna try to get our head to the same spot that it was in our previous fold. So that's gonna require getting your weight a little more forward, so it's not hanging out on your heels. Next inhale, let's rise up. And we'll just turn to face that right leg. Let's reach out and down for triangle. And we'll stay here for 3 breaths. Let's actually drop our right ear towards the right shoulder. And we'll reach the left arm back, like it's gonna go past our hip. And that's just gonna stretch the left side of the neck in a lovely and intense way. Return to your normal triangle, then rise up and pivot around to the other side. Reach out as far as you can so that this underside of the body is somewhat straight as opposed to rainbow shaped. And you can either stay like this, no problem, or drop your left ear down toward the shoulder and reach the right arm opposite until you feel like the right side of your neck is going to explode in a good way. Okay, and let's slowly rise up, neutral through the head, and let's just come to the top of the mat. I'm just going to grab my sweat rag before I Get to the top of the mat. Oh, okay. Vinyasa, very normal. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold. Halfway up, inhale. Stepward jump, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. And we'll just lift the right leg up high, inhale. We're going to keep the weight in the hands, but bring the right leg to pigeon. And with the weight in the hands, you can keep your back toes curled under, your back knee off the ground. And think of it as you would a simple twist. Swing your right hip back an inch. Okay, three-legged dog. Inhale the leg up. And step forward to the hands, exhale. For a simple twist. Left hand is going to line up with right toes. Right arm up. We're trying to find that same stretch that we have in pigeon through this glute. And if you let your hips swing out to the side, you will successfully avoid that stretch. So you're going to aim your right hip toward the back edge of your mat, that back foot even. Take one more breath here. We'll unravel, lower the back knee. I'll just straighten the right leg for an inhale. Any amount. And bend it again for Koundinyasana. Exhale. We'll do this a few more times. You can keep your hands on the ground, or you can bring your hands up to your hips. If you're bringing your hands up to your hips, you'll just keep your chest lifted. So it becomes more of a balance thing and maybe less of a hamstring thing. It's a little more of a strength situation. And you'll be inspired to dig your heel into the ground. Okay. So let's find our twisted triangle. Fingers down, back knee up. Slide the back foot in a few inches so that you can angle the foot and get the heels to line up. Left hand somewhere, right hand up. Good. So just like in pigeon, just like in simple twist, swing your right hip back. Demini, roll your right shoulder back a little more. The top shoulder. Yes. Good. And let's unravel. And we're just going to find our pigeon again, right side. So it's like 5 poses again that we did pigeon, and now here we are. Let's attempt a robot arm situation. So we're having our palms face each other, shoulders roll back, elbows poke back. And if this is too much, have your hands down to support you. The legs are squeezing so much that there's actually maybe some space here under your right butt cheek. Okay, hands to the floor. Vinyasa. Take 2 more breaths. We'll lift the left leg up high for an inhale. And bring that leg to pigeon. We'll keep weight in the hands so that we can very safely keep the right knee off the ground. And that will inspire us to square up the hips a little more. The more body parts are on the ground, the harder it's going to be to square the hips. Okay. Let's meet in a 3-legged dog again. Inhale. And step that foot forward to the hands for a simple twist. And try to find the same stretch you had in the hip from pigeon. So one thing would be swinging the left hip back, but another one is you got to keep your left knee in. Good. And let's unravel. We'll lower our right knee to the floor, Koundinyasana. Let's straighten the left leg. Inhale, this is your half split. And exhale to bend. So decide if that's what you want, or do you want your hands on your hips, and then you practice squeezing your thighs together. Either way, you're going to be very effective for your right hip flexors, which those of you who do a lot of spin classes, you might be loving this right about now. And remember how you're digging your heel into the floor, because later when we go to Mayurasana, that's going to be very important. Okay, so we'll meet in this Anjane again. Lower the fingers. Lift the back knee for twisted triangle. We adjust the stance so it's a little shorter. Heel to heel alignment. Right hand down, left hand up. Roll that top shoulder back so you get like another inch of lining up the shoulders. We don't just want the arm to go back, we want the whole unit to move. Good, and let's unravel. And we'll meet in Koundinyasana again. Oh, I lied, we're meeting in pigeon again. We walk that left foot over. Because Koundinyasana with robot arms is quite easy. Pigeon with robot arms is not at all easy. So when you're ready, take your robot arms, roll your shoulders up toward your ears, and then back as if your elbows are going to poke the wall behind you. Squeeze your thighs together so you feel a great stretch in the right hip, and literally the right hip is going to move forward a half inch. Okay, and hands down. Vinyasa. Let's walk the hands back to the feet. Slide them underneath the feet so your toes are by your wrists. Palms up. Inhale. Fold, exhale. As you feel comfortable here, you're going to get your legs straighter and straighter. Belly in, so it's not just hanging out on your legs. Okay, let's release our hands, bring them up to the hips, and rise up for your inhale. We're going to face the long edge of the mat again for goddess pose. Heels in, toes out a bit. We'll bend the knees, we'll put our hands on our inner thighs, and lean forward. So this is a pretty lazy pose, feels amazing. The arms are straight, so they don't even have to work. They're just pushing your knees back with their bones. Okay, we're going to take it over to the right leg in a half squat, half hamstring thing. So a lot of the time we end up here with the right heel off the ground. If that's happening to you, just slide the left foot back further, and then the right heel will come down. Put your hands wherever you need for your balance, or to prayer if you don't need the balance. And then head over to the other side. You can walk it over with your hands. And that left arm can push the knee back. Good. And let's return to goddess pose. So reset as you need so that you feel like you're in control with your legs and not too far apart. Either repeat the same one we did, or bring your elbows to the inside of your knees and your hands toward your ankles. And it's just a little bit more. So if more doesn't sound fun, then don't do more. 2 more breaths. Okay. We'll rise up, and we're going to head over to that right leg in that squat thing. And you might only go about this far, that's fine. Then we're gonna come up and over to the other side. And you decide how low you go. And then up and over to the first side. And you decide how low you go. And up and over to the other side. And you always make a wise choice because what goes down must come up. And you're gonna feel this a lot in your outer hips. Oh Lordy, let's just do one more each side so that we can still walk later. Okay, whoa, walk it in. Any more of that and my legs would just rebel. Shake it out. We'll come to the top of the mat. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold forward. Halfway up for your inhale. And step or jump it back. Exhale for chaturanga. Upward facing, inhale. And downward facing, exhale. Let's bring our right foot about halfway forward. And just lift the back leg. Come onto fingertips. We'll stack the left hip on top of the right, so our hips face the side. And then square up again, hips will face down. 2 more times like that. The inhale lifts the hip, the exhale squares the hip. And if the floor is too far away, you can just put blocks or books under your hands. All right, we're just going to take 3 more, but making it a little bit different. So stack your hip and then lift your left leg as high as you can. And as you square up again, bend your knees and touch your top leg just outside or under your standing leg. So we're just increasing the range a bit. Inhale, extend. Exhale, you curl up a little bit, bend both legs, touch. One more time. We'll let this turn us into Inversions. So after you've touched your knee outside of your standing leg, you'll just bring your knee down to the floor and then eventually your butt down to the floor. And that left foot will be just outside the right hip, so we're not sitting on that foot. Hug the knee to the left shoulder and twist. Or hook your arm or reach down for the arch of your foot. So the gap between the armpit and the thigh is what you need to bridge if you want to reach your hand down to your foot. Take 2 more breaths. And let's unravel. And we'll just straighten out the left leg and bring the right leg to baby cradle. So the foot in the left elbow crease and the shin just across the chest. Remember what you did with your shoulders when we were in the pigeon with the robot arms and you had to roll your shoulders up and back? Try to do that here as well. Harder because you have this leg that's not exactly weightless. Okay, and let that go. Vinyasa at your leisure. We'll just meet in downward dog again. Let's step the left foot about halfway forward. Come onto fingertips, lift the right leg. And just square your hips to the side, open I should say, and then exhale, square them to the floor. Inhale, that right hip will now face the side of the room. Exhale, it will face your mat. One more time like this. Increase your range a little bit, stack the hips, lift the leg higher. And then touch your knee outside of your standing leg. Inhale, extend. Exhale, squeeze it in. One more time. And after that last time squeezing it in, gently place your butt on the ground for your Ardha Matsyendrasana. Ashley, it looks like your foot is kind of facing a weird direction. Go like straight forward with the foot. Yes. Good. Okay. And we'll unravel. We'll straighten out that right leg. Place the left foot in the right elbow, or it doesn't have to be there. You can hold on with the hands. You can also bend your right leg if there's too much going on there. You can sit on something. Okay, let's get out of there. We will meet in downward dog. Let's bring our right hand to the center of the mat so we can step the right foot outside the hand. Lower the left knee down and maybe turn the right foot out a bit so that we have an easy access to opening this hip. Drop the knee away. And for today, let's walk our hands out wide. And we're just going to bend the elbows and imagine touching the chest to the floor. Some of you actually might. And then we'll start to straighten the arms again. Lower down however much you want. Hello, hip. And then straighten the arms again. Try to draw your belly in. Let's do this 2 more times. Only working in the range that suits you. Okay, so the next time your arms are straight, we're going to walk them in so they're under our shoulders better. And just straighten the right leg. We're going to keep the foot where it is, so it's still facing out to the side. And that will just give you a different stretch through the outside of the right thigh. If you want more, scoot this right foot to the left, and then straighten the leg. Ouch. You can move the hands inside of the shin if you put your foot over to the left. Some of you might want to come to your elbows here. I haven't done that in a very long time. I don't think it's going to work today. I'm not even going to try. Okay. So we'll rebend that leg. I'm going to face the front again of my mat because I started facing out. We're going to put both hands inside the foot and lift the back knee. We'll find our Koundinyasana and then our jump back to chaturanga. So we'll slide our right shoulder more under the knee. Walk our right foot out, so literally crinkling with the toes until your right leg can lift. And bend your left elbow to catch your left ribs and start to lift the left leg behind you. The jumping to chaturanga from there is quite easy, but the hip has to be very open to get into that position in the first place. And Anouk, you might have a space issue with that particular pose. Okay. Let's do all of that on the other side. So we'll start with our left foot coming outside of the left hand, right knee down. So it's reminiscent of pigeon, and it's reminiscent of Koundinyasana. We often call it a variation on lizard. Let's bring the fingers out, and if your hip can handle more, only if, start to lower your chest down. And then rise up, draw your belly in. Don't overarch your back. Exhale, drop the chest down, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then rise up. 2 more times, or 2 more breaths. Okay, so getting into this pose is very, we have the other stretch first. I was going to jump the gun and do arm balance. So first, let's straighten the leg. Because in your Koundinyasana, the front leg is straight, which is very difficult. Back leg being straight in this pose is no problem in this arm balance. So make a choice, does your left foot stay there or do you want more IT band stretch? But keep your left leg straight and your foot flexed. Okay. So we'll move that left foot to a nice normal place again. Rebend the knee. And we've got to get our shoulder under this knee. As long as you're higher than your elbow, it's fine and it will work. It doesn't have to be as deep as. I'm going to not face that way because then I will kick the glass wall that is behind the sheet. So for Koundinyasana, a lot of scooting. Good. Lisa, get your back leg higher. Do it again. So the back leg higher aspect is going to be like the seam of your pants. The outer seam is going to lift your leg. Yes, keep going. Up, up, up. Now chaturanga. Oh, cheating happens. Okie doke. Now we know. All right, so from downward dog, which theoretically is where you will land it after your vinyasa, we're just going to bring our feet forward maybe 3/4 of the way. And let's just bend the knees and roll ourselves up to stand. Let's bring our right ankle to our lower left thigh. And just push your knee back. So right now my standing leg is actually still straight. But the reason that this doesn't happen is that I'm pushing toward the wall behind me. Okay, but we don't have to stay there, don't worry. Let's bend the knee, the standing leg, so it's a little shelf. And we're just going to touch the floor and then reach the arms out to the side like wings. We'll just touch the floor under the shoulders and reach out, get your knuckles up high so you feel your upper back work. 2 more times. So the legs are not changing here, theoretically. Okay, and then rise up and change sides. Left ankle, first just try standing. If your hip is very tight, your knee might be somewhat like this, but it's still the same idea of pushing back into this standing leg and into space with the knee. And then bend the standing leg. Now you have a nice comfortable thigh table. And if you can touch the floor, you don't really have to go that low. And reach the arms out, knuckles up toward the ceiling. And just 3 more times. If your hip is having no problem here, just bend your standing leg a little bit more. You just want to feel something in the hip. Good. And then rise up and let it go. Ooh la la. Okay. Normal vinyasa. We'll meet in downward dog. Koundinyasana. Right leg in front, left knee down. And for this Hanuman, we're going to start in Koundinyasana, which is just this. And we're going to squeeze the thighs together. So we literally feel like, I'm going to dramatize it. So we feel like this is happening. And when I squeeze the legs together, this right thigh moves back. And I actually rise up away from the ground. So just practice that in this nice controlled environment. And then when you feel like that's going well, scoot your left knee a little further back. And then try it again. So we're working the legs like crazy. We're not just flopping into Koundinyasana. It's not just a flexibility pose. If that's going well, scoot your leg further back still. At some point in your process of extending your legs, the sole of your right foot will come off the ground. You'll still dig your heel into the floor to still try to get the right hip back. So it's always going to be a strong pose, even when you are very flexible. And just remember what your right leg is doing now. It's both in the socket of your hip and you're reaching through the ball of your foot. That's your Koundinyasana leg. Let's try it again. So scoot your left knee in. I'm just going to show you a fun way to do it just so that you're maybe more likely to clear that chaturanga exit. So it's the same basically, We're just gonna go for drama, basically. So walk it out. And I'm just gonna try lifting, lifting, lifting. See how high that back leg gets? And then chaturanga from there is very easy. So just see if that works for you. You're gonna think of the seam of your pants lifting the leg up. And you just take it as far as you can. Ashley, do that again, girl.
What was wrong? My leg wasn't high enough?
You kind of like your chest collapsed down. Your chaturanga was sloppy. The legs were okay. Carolyn's laughing because I called it sloppy. Okay, better. Good. All right, let's try our Hanuman on the other side. So left leg in front. We start with our Koundinyasana. And I know that sometimes all these poses, they don't feel like anything is, there's no fireworks. So that's okay. We don't need fireworks with every pose. So in this pose, just working in and out of the depth of your Anjane, you're trying to figure out how to draw up through your low belly, how to dig your front foot into the floor so much that your left hip stays back. And then if you scoot your right knee back further, it's the same thing. It's just a lot harder. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that this process, A, is for a whole lifetime, and B, cannot be shown on Instagram. So come as far down into your split as you want. Sometimes I have non-yogis ask me, who's the most advanced yogi you know? And that's an impossible question to answer because all you know is what you can see. And most of the yoga is not visible. So just take 2 more breaths wherever you are. Practice pushing through the ball of your left foot. And bring that left leg in again or the right knee in again, however logistically it works for you to get to the lunge. And find your Koundinyasana to jumping back. Carol, was that your head on the floor, girl? Do it again. No head on the floor.
I am so stiff. I seem to be getting stiffer instead of more limber.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. It goes like this. You might be in one of your stiffening phases.
I think so.
But
I can't do anything anymore.
chaturanga, you could be very stiff and still do a good chaturanga. So let me see it. And we're going to meet in downward dog when you feel like you've done both sides. Oh, cute things are happening in the Bailey house. Okay. So let's come forward with our feet, just like 3/4 of the way again, and roll yourself up, because we want our hands to be comfortably on the mat. So we did a few things where, like this thing, when you were lifting your leg up and bringing it in, we did that. And then just now in your Koundinyasana, your back leg was lifting up. So similar concept, but we're going to be in a flying pigeon. So I'll just show you and then I'm going to kind of watch you. So remember how you glue your ankle to your thigh? That's not going to change. We're going to come in and out of the pose by lowering to the hands and extending the left leg back, lowering to the foot and coming into the standing pose again. And when you come into it successively, you're going to try to get your left leg a little bit higher each time. The first few times you try it, your foot might not get off the floor at all. So give it a try. Also, if your hips are tight, maybe getting the hands down is what you're going to work on. Even the fingertips touching the floor is a big deal. Nice. So we're going to aim for 4 times in and out of the pose. Go as smoothly as you can. And Miss Carrie, your foot is too high up on your thigh. Yes. Good. Don't let it move. There's like an imaginary zip tie right there. And Miss Ashley, when you land your hands, bring them 2 inches further apart. Good. Okay. So we're approximating 4. Take your time finishing that up. And then we get to try the other side. You might need to shake it out between sides. And carry, again, your foot slid. And this is a common thing, but for the arm balance to ever work, this cannot move. Because if I go to the arm balance and this foot slides, literally I'll show you what happens. Here I am, everything's cool, and then I end up here. And my butt just sank and the balance is finished. So make sure this doesn't move. And let's try 4 times on side 2. This is Galavasana. Maybe it's flying pigeon, depends on where you are.
Rach, did you mean my hands to be further apart in the actual Galavasana?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit like your hands are in and then your elbows are out. So instead, if you just have your hands out, they'll be more like in line with each other. Yeah. And we'll all have our hands in a slightly different place because it has to be the length of your shin bone. Good. Let's try for a little more smoothness. No jagged edges. Yes. So Carrie, maybe it's just this side is easier, or you're just behaving better. I don't know. But this side, the imaginary zip ties are working. Okay. So whenever you happen to be done with your rounds, we're going to meet in downward dog. It will be nice and familiar, symmetrical. Once you get there, come down to the forearm so that you can get off the wrists a little bit. Let's walk the feet in. We'll come into baby bakasana. So we'll basically be crouching, and we'll put our knees toward our armpits, and we'll rock our way forward so the feet can lift up off the ground. The head is off the ground as well, but it is very close to the ground. And we just squeeze everything in so that the only thing touching the ground are your forearms and hands. Good, and come on down. And let's just rest for a moment in toe crunch with our balls of feet on the floor, ankle bones touching. If this is too much for you, just be here instead. Okay, Koundinyasana arms. So right arm up and over, left arm under. The challenge is going to be move your waistline back as opposed to this big arch situation. You're going to push your waistline into space. You're going to push your head into your arm. Good. And then keeping the arms, just stand on the knees. Keeping the arms, bring your right foot forward and find your way into Koundinyasana. I'm just going to face you. So we're going to add a little side bend here. Not much is going to change. We're just going to extend the left arm out and the right arm over. So the head pressing back thing is still happening, the waistline moving back is still happening. Those are the hard elements. Just reach over as far as you can or want to. And belly in for an inhale to rise up. And we'll just change sides, starting with toe crunch. And toe crunch might be very easy for you, in which case, congratulations, you can kind of rest for a moment. But remember how this lowest rib just needs to tuck in. You'll find your Gomukhasana arms. If it's impossible to link the hands while keeping your waistline moving back, then just use a strap. Lisa, tuck those lowest ribs in a little more. Yes. Good. Okay. Stand on the knees and take the left foot forward or the right knee back, whichever logistically suits you. Keep pressing the head back. So we'll turn it into the side bend, right arm out to the side, left arm up and over. You can have a block there to catch your hand if you want, or if you bend your left leg a little more, the floor is closer. Okay, rise up, and let's vinyasa. We'll meet in down dog B again. We're going to take a detour, and then we'll come back to another Anjane with another side bend. But in this detour, I'm going to move my computer just in case I fall. I don't want to fall on it. We're going to do pincha Mayurasanas, but we're not going to stay there. We're going to be scissoring the legs while we're there. So we start arms down and parallel to one another. And we'll step one foot in. We'll lift. Ooh, I didn't quite make it. So we're going to find our balance, change the legs in the air, and then come down. And then the other side. So the trick is you got to get your balance before you change the legs. If you put a wall behind you, it might mentally support you, but we're not going to just fling our feet to the wall. We're going to try to find enough of a balance. And if that's too much, you just practice getting one leg up, and then after maybe 3 or 4 turns, then the other leg. A nook, that's good, but keep both legs straighter if you can. Good. Okay. Let's take another Koundinyasana, right leg in front. We are going to try that pincha again. Don't you worry. Okay. So this time we're just going to side bend the other way. So we were like this before with the, so our right leg's in front. Earlier we were side bending to the left. Now we're going to go the other way, left arm up and over. And you're going to feel a very deep stretch through the hip flexors, the psoas. It might not be able to side bend as far. You're going to think more up and out. And the stretch for the left psoas is quite amazing. Okay, and just change sides however you want to. If you had a block, just move it, and the right arm will come up and over. If you find that you're stuck in a forward bend type of thing, instead of reaching with your hand, just put your hand behind your head, push your head back, and reach with your elbow. You'll still get the psoas stretch. Maybe even more so, because you don't want to be collapsing forward. Okay. Very nice. So let's meet in our down dog B's again. We're going to do the same thing with our pincha Mayurasanas. Lifting up through one leg, scissoring, Coming down, lifting up with the other. So we have the opportunity to do the easy leg and the hard leg. The more you can push into your fingers, the easier it will be. And you know from experience, getting in and out of a pose is harder than being in the pose. Good. All right. So when you feel like you have done enough there, let's meet with our right leg in Virasana and our left leg extended out. Inhale for height, armpits away from hips. Exhale to twist toward your right knee. Inhale to reach up and side bend, extend the arm over. Left hand, you can put it on your hip, you can reach for your foot. I like to often walk it out in front. And let's take 2 more breaths here. Demini, think of your right elbow pointing up to the ceiling a little bit more. There you go, right there. The reach was still good, yeah, you got it. It's just a way to trick us into a little more rotation. Okay, let's rise up and we're just gonna switch sides. If your knee can't quite bend into this Virasana position, just have the leg out, no big deal. So we lengthen, inhale, we twist for the exhale, and we reach up and over. Any amount. The lower you go, the more you're gonna have to push your right calf muscle into the floor so that you don't just collapse over onto this right leg. The leg is very strong and stable. It has to offer some resistance. Carolyn, instead of holding your foot, lift your arm like a little higher and then twist, yeah, there you go. And bring your bottom shoulder toward your camera a little more. There we go. Good. Okay, let's slowly get up out of there. And just bring your legs toward the front. Baddha Konasana. And we're going to inhale the knees up as high as they can go and exhale the knees down as low as they can go. But slowly, not like a fluttery, crazy thing. Okay. Let's lay back. And we'll all be taking this slightly differently. We're just going to have the soles of the feet down. Move your bun or ponytail out of the way a bit so your head can relax. And we're just going to arch so that our sitting bones get heavy. And then we're going to round a little bit so that we imprint our back on the mat. Just do that one more time just so you can feel the range here of arching and rounding. And then find your neutral spine so that maybe your fingertips can slide just to the sides. So, Mula Bandha, pelvic floor is lifting up, belly is lifting in and up. You'll start to feel that rise into the rib cage almost. And without changing anything, just bring your arms up and then overhead if possible. If you feel like when your arms went overhead that you just arched your back, just bring them not as far. And let's lift them up to where we can see them, reset whatever you need through the core, and then extend them over your head to your range. And just do this a few times. We're just trying to figure out how to get our arms overhead without sticking our ribs out too far. It seems like it should be easy, but if it was easy, we'd have no problem with our handstands. Okay, and then just bring your arms down by your sides. Lift your right leg off the ground without changing your back and extend it out toward a straight leg. Bend it in again and lower the foot. And then the left side. You might want to touch your core as you're doing this so that you see that nothing is moving, that you literally feel it with your fingers. Let's go right leg again. So we make a little table and we extend the leg out to whatever height we can while we maintain this integrity. And one more time, left side. Okay. Let us try to put this together in a handstand. So however you want to, come to your downward dog. And we're just going to do it how we did pinch up, where we kick with one leg, scissor, and then try the other. For my mental capacity, I'm going to face the back wall so that I know should things go awry, there is something to catch me. And the gaze is just down. We're going to try to keep the arms straight. How's it going, Carolyn? Gadzooks, it's hard. Good. Okay, let's try one more thing with that kind of mental process. Grab something, be it a block, a book, it doesn't have to be anything significant. And we're just going to put it on our mat and we're going to try to jump a foot over it and back again. And this is just so that we practice getting our hips up. And there's going to be a sweet spot for your block to be. We'll just do like 3 with one leg, so it'll look something like that, and then up and over it again. This is just so that we don't end up with our hips all flailing around, so that we know that it moves as a unit. We'll start to feel a little more float. If it's too easy for you, move your block in. If it's too hard, move your block back. Miss Ashley, try to keep your arms just a little straighter. Okay. Very nice. Let's go have a seat in Mayurasana. And we'll just bring our knuckles in so that our palms face out. And we'll just lower the elbows so that we can basically bend the wrists the other way. Good, and shake that out. We'll place the hands on the feet, lower to the elbows. Maybe, optional of course. Once you get here, we're gonna lift the hips up, inhale, and lower down, exhale, trying to scoop under. 2 more times, just lift, and exhale down, and one more time. Miss Ashley, if possible, knees closer together. And maybe come to your shoulders for Supta Virasana. We'll try to tuck the lowest ribs a bit. You could stretch the arms overhead if you want a little extra psoas stretch, like what we did at that Koundinyasana earlier. Okay, and then slowly rise up out of there. And let's meet in down dog B. And this time we're going to try to hold our pinch up and just stay for like 5 breaths. You'll find it potentially much easier than what you did earlier, which was moving in and out. When you get there, point your toes, glue your legs together. It's going to give your legs something to focus on. And as you squeeze your legs together, look forward another inch. Good, and then come on down. Woo, Carrie, good fight. It is so close. All right. So we're going to come onto our backs. And we'll be moving in and out of Setubandha Sarvangasana. So bring your heels close to your butt, lift your hips, and wiggle your arms underneath you until you can get your fingers interlaced. Maybe the palms can even come together. So we're going to lower our butt onto the forearms. You're going to be stuck in this amazing chest opener. So that will be one range of the motion. To get to the other side, we're going to press our hips up, our pubic bone up, and our heels up. So we're just on the balls of the feet, going as high as we can. When you're ready to come down again, lower your heels first, and then drop your butt. When you're ready to lift up, push through the hips and pelvis, then lift up onto the balls of the feet. To come down, heels down first, so we're keeping the hips very high, and then we lower, and then we lift the hips. We see how high they go, then we come to the balls of the feet, they go higher. We keep them at that new height as we lower to the heels, and then we come down butt to forearms. This time we'll stay for a few breaths here and just enjoy it. And slowly release your hands and your arms from underneath you. So we'll come in and out of Koundinyasana, but only to the top of the head. So it's not going to be a huge strain on the back. It's going to be very hard for your triceps. And your shoulders are going to have to work to keep your alignment. So bring your pinky fingers just to the outside of your mat, and then line your elbows over your hands. Come to the crown of the head. Inhale there. And on your exhale, push up. And come down, crown of head. And then push to straight arms. So you're in a back bend the whole time. It's just, are you in like a tripod style, or are you in a straight arm Koundinyasana? To get the arms straight, you're also working your legs a lot. And come on down and have a rest. Maybe do the same wrist thing we did earlier with knuckles in. And let's do that very same thing one more time, coming up and down from Koundinyasana to the top of the head. I just want to make sure that the elbows are behaving. And if this doesn't work for you because of wrists or anything else, repeat the thing we did with our fingers interlaced under the back. Carry elbows in just a little more when you come down onto the top of your head. Good. All right. Come on down. This next thing is going to be also moving with Koundinyasana, but it's going to be more legs and less triceps. So I'll just show you and then turn you loose. It's not that complicated. So here you are. I'm going to push. And then I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to push. And then I'm going to come back. And I'm only lifting my heels just to kind of demonstrate the weight, but the heels do not have to lift. They can lift if you want. But you're going to feel like your chest is reaching through your arms. So you just decide what range of motion you like based on your back, but your legs are going to be doing the work. So give it a try. Ashley, let's see. And Miss Carol, if you're having some back issues, go for pincha instead. And Miss Lisa, if you can, walk your hands and feet closer together. And then do the same thing. It's just harder. Okay. Good. So come on down. And let's just meet in downward dog. Let's come down to hands and knees. And we're going to think of just having like our Baddha Konasana feet. So the knees will be out to the side and the feet will be together. But we're going to try to do it with our hands facing our knees. So first, just make sure that works for you. If this does not feel good in your wrists, maybe have your hands face the sides instead, the sides of the mat. So once you're situated with your hands, you're going to bring your elbows to your belly button, lean forward, and try to get your Baddha Konasana legs. So you'll be looking forward and lifting your knees and feet. Two schools of thought about your boobs. One is squeezing together so that they're clear of your arms. The other is just squish them. Everyone's got their own thing. And I've seen all sizes of boobs choose all different things. So it's not like if you have big boobs, you do one thing, and little boobs do the other thing. It's a very personal choice. I used to do it uniboob style, and then I started doing it the other way, but for no reason, because my boobs stayed the same size.
I don't understand how to lay the body on the arm.
So you're going to put your belly, or your elbows rather, into your belly button area, like within a few inches. You're going to tense up your abs a lot so that you don't feel like your elbows are on a squishy surface. And then you're going to lean forward a lot. And I'll just show you the amount of leaning. So here's my connection, elbows to belly. And then I have to go about there in order to get the legs up. So I moved like from here where it was comfortable, about 4 inches forward till it's not comfortable. It's gonna feel like you're about to fall on your nose. Not a comfy pose, I agree. Okay. That's Mayurasana, which you know from Mayurasana. Okay, let's bump ahead, or maybe it's bumping back. We're going to go to Baddha Konasana C. And that's going to be a headstand with your palms flat. The head's going to come down. We're going to get the legs up. I'm going to go one leg at a time just because it feels better on my back. And then once we're up there, we're going to try to put a little arch in the back. So I'm going to push my hips forward, feet back. And then if I want, I can think about pushing my hands down more so that I can maybe think about Mayurasana. So my hands are pushing down and a little bit they're pulling me forward so that I can look forward. So you decide if you're going to go to the headstand and stay, or the headstand into a little back bend, or the headstand into Mayurasana. It's all the same motion, it's just how far do you take it. So it's like a little train and you get off at the appropriate stop. And the hips have to push further forward than is comfortable. So just like in your Mayurasana pose, you're moving first into an uncomfortable place and then into the full pose. Okay. come down and have a rest. We're either going to work that again, that's really good for control. Or if you prefer more of like a flexibility thing for your hip flexors and shoulders, you can take it over into Viparita Dandasana. And that could be from palms flat or fingers interlaced. I think today I'm going to choose fingers interlaced. It would be your headstand. And then it would be the similar concept of pushing the hips in opposition to the feet, rolling toward the forehead a little bit, and then letting the feet come down eventually. Thud. Thud is the sound of my feet. So you choose if you do that, or if you work on the headstand and just increasing your back bend a little bit. If you are going to land your feet on the ground, you have to go symmetrically. Unless there's a wall. If you have a wall, you do not have to be symmetrical. Demini, push your hips away from your camera. All right, so when you've had enough of such things, we're just going to meet in pigeon right leg in front and down on the forearms. Okay, we need like 3 more hours, but we'll have to just continue on Sunday. Okay, let's rock to that right hip, swing that left leg around, and just like you did before, put your right foot in your elbow crease and sit up, or band wherever you want, so that you're able to sit up. Let's take hold of the foot with both hands and extend the leg away. Roll the shoulders back. The leg may or may not be fully straight. And start to walk the hands toward the hamstring so that you're still supporting the leg, but not quite as much. And point the toes and keep the leg there, just frame it. And lower the foot. Pigeon left leg in front. Slide the right leg back. We'll rise up, we'll swing that right leg around. And we'll bring the left foot somewhere up so it's imitating pigeon. Two hands to the foot, extend up, push through the ball of the foot. Start to walk the hands toward your hamstrings. And when you're ready, frame the leg and then lower it down. Shake it out. Let's open the legs to about max width. We'll just bring the fingers behind the back, or behind the hips rather, and just nudge yourself forward a little bit. And let's take the arms in front between the feet and start to walk them forward a little bit more. If possible, come down to the forearms and get the elbows just behind your wrists. Draw the belly in. Flex through your feet a little more, press your calf muscles down, engage your quads. Let's walk it in. Bring the feet together. Let's reach up, inhale. Hold any amount, exhale. Reach up again for the inhale. Push your calves down. Exhale, fold, strong quads. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale, you might even interlace your fingers underneath your feet. That's just going to require your legs be even stronger. And on this last one, we'll stay for a few breaths, hands wherever you want, but kneecaps are facing up. All the front of the leg is toned. And Ashley, let's raise your hands a few inches. Yeah, and then pull the toes back. And it's going to hurt a little bit. Okay, good. So rise up and take any final pose you need. We'll meet in Shavasana. When I practice by myself at home, an hour and a half feels like forever. And when I have you guys, it's like we need 4 hours. Take a few more breaths here. And somehow find a fetal position on your right side. And let's sit up gently. Let's rub the hands together. And place the palms or hover the palms over your eyes. And relax all the muscles around your eyes. Now also relax your jaw behind your ear. The tongue. Let's bring the hands to prayer and fold forward any amount. Namaste.